Welcome back to Living with a Classic. We're down here in the gallery, which is where I store some of my cars. This is my friend's 1992 XJR-S, which we featured in 2 videos so far. Last video on it, we realized it had no spark because it was missing a sensor. This has a really special SciTech system, which is just for the XJR-S. And a friend who has the car went on a couple forums, a couple groups, and he got in touch with a guy in Belgium who had a sensor. Just arrived in the mail. Haven't opened the box yet, so we'll open that up, see what's inside. Hopefully it's the correct sensor. Hopefully have the mounting hardware to get it in there. That might be the next issue. So we'll open up the box, see what the sensor looks like, see if we can get it all together, see if we can get some spark. I don't plan on working on the car down here. It's going to go up into the workshop later in the fall / early winter. However, we want to see if we get some life out of it before that, or at least if we have a chance, because I don't want to have it stuck up in the workshop, taken apart and having to wait for a bunch of hard to get parts. We're really lucky that we got a hold of this part, but who knows? We might find something else that's missing or broken that could be a lot more difficult to get a hold of. Okay, let's use the boot of my XJ6 as a table. And I'm doing this one-handed. So bear with me just a second. Here we have it, the missing link. The specific sensor here, which senses 2 things. It's both a crank position sensor and a spark sensor. So it sends a signal both to the ECU and, 2 signals to the ECU, one for spark and one for fuel. And there's the cables, and it goes into a connector. I actually found that connector under the seat. Let's go over to the car, set up some lights, and see if this seems like it's the correct one. I just laid the distributor cap on there last time, and well, there is a screw there, so I think we could be lucky. This ring needs to go off, and it has a couple of Allen bolts, so I'm going to loosen those, and it goes through here, and that is the connector it connects to. And I'm gonna look through my parts because I did find the other end of that connector where these go into, so we're really lucky. So we can put this back together. I'll loosen that up, see if we can get the sensor in place. This ring here was really easy to remove, just a couple Allens, and then underneath I found the mounting screws. They're there. It's just a couple of normal screws here, so that's very nice. They may have lost the sensor, but at least they put all the other things back, which is great on a rather rare ignition system. So the cables need to go through here. The guy in Belgium, he also said that you need to take apart the sensor, this plug, to get the cable through, so that's why it's taken apart. Let me see where I put that new sensor. Oh, it's right here. So, and then they fit into a connection like this, and it looks like we are missing one connection. So that's a little bit of a shame, but we can get that to work. Thread this through here. There's a grommet here. I think even if we're missing a connection, I can strip that wire and we can jerry rig something to work for now, and then I can see if I can have a look online and find a similar looking connector to this and make something that could work. So that's in place now. It went through there, and let's see, here it is. I just taped up it right there. This is the missing connector part, but I'm gonna see if I can jerry rig something or make something temporary to go into here. I do have the other part of the plastic housing. I luckily found that under the seats. So as you can see, this ring is in 2 different levels. That's what makes it interesting. So it's not just that part, which is the trigger part for the ignition. It's this as well, which is the crank position sensor. So you have an inner and an outer sensor. That's what makes it so unique. Okay, I'll put that into place. Then I'm gonna have a look and see if I can do something about those connectors there. See if I can get something working, and then, well, we gotta see if we have any spark at all. It's all together a little temporarily. This is what I found on the receipt, which is amazing that I found this. It's the other end of that connector where that goes into. And that was the thing that the guy we got the sensor from didn't have, so that's really cool that we found that. Temporarily stuck them in there, hoping that it's, you know, that the right color goes to the right color, black goes to black, green goes to green, blue goes to blue, and red goes to red. At least that's my plan. I'm just gonna double check my work. And yeah, that looks good. I have hooked up the battery, and I've just done one thing which we noticed before. If you remember in the last video, like you can see here, there's a little screen here, and the check engine light went out. Did not do that last time, so at least it kind of seems to know that all things are connected now. I'm gonna turn off this light, and then I've set up a little light there which hopefully should blink if we have spark. Got the test light right there, so hopefully it's gonna flash. You guys are gonna have to tell me if it works. Did it work? I just reviewed the footage, and I thought I could see a tiny little spark, and I laid my phone down there. That was the second footage you guys saw, and yes, there is spark. I also heard the injectors click, so really good news. So we're gonna do something I usually don't really like, but because we don't know anything else about this car, we don't even know if there's anything majorly wrong with the engine. Most likely this was the issue why it was parked. We're gonna use some starting fluid and just see if it fires into life. The fuel pump is not running. Most likely it's a tank one, so most likely a tank needs to be cleaned and pump needs to be done. So we're gonna do all that. But I just grabbed a can of brake clean. Let's just do a little bit in each, see if it fires up. Then if the car needs to sit for a long time while waiting for other parts, I will remove the spark plugs and just put a little bit of oil down the cylinders to make sure that they don't go completely dry from doing this. Put that spark plug cable back on, and I'm almost out of any sort of flammable liquid, but let's give this a shot. Just make sure that we get a good shot into the intake here. And the other side. I'm not sure if that is enough, otherwise I might have to go get some more. I thought I had a new can, but let's see if we even get a cough of life. Let me go find something more flammable. I found a fresh can of this stuff, so now we can actually try. It's a little hard because I have to do it upside down, but other side as well. Alright, I don't want to put in too much, but That was at least a lot better than before. So let's see if we get the slightest cough of life. Have we lost our brilliant spark? So no success. I'm not going to try anymore on that. Just doesn't seem to be working. Either it's something wrong with the ignition timing, all that, or it's just that, we need to do a proper attempt at starting this thing. So we're going to have a look and see if we have power to the fuel pump. I just pulled a plug for fun, and it doesn't look overly wet or anything, and it really just smells like stale old fuel. So I'm wondering if there's some fuel left in the rail, or if the pump is working a little bit while cranking, so I'm just not hearing it, or something like that. So it does smell a little bit stale fuely. But let me get a test light and let's see if we have power to the fuel pump. After a bit of checking, I found that we do have power coming to the fuel pump. It turns on with the ignition, so that's good. But just to double check, I hooked up this cable I have to the fuel pump directly, and let me show you guys one more time. Nothing happens. So we have a completely dead fuel pump, which is in the tank, and we'll have to order one. I think we're going to call it a day for today. I didn't plan on spending this much time down here. I have some other cars up in the workshop I'm meant to work on, but it's just really intriguing with this thing. It does have spark, so that is one step forward. It does have a signal to the ECU, and that works, so it does trigger the injectors at least. We need a fuel pump, so I'm gonna pull out the tank, check which pump is in there, because it might not be the stock one, it might be some upgraded one, because it's an XJR-S, you never know. But really good progress at least. I also pulled the distributor apart once more, just to make sure that I couldn't put the sensor in backwards. It doesn't seem like it. It can only go in one way, and when it goes in this way, the cable has marks where it's gone through a grommet before, so that seems correct. And yes, my little temporary wiring is not the best, but we are getting trigger signals, so it at least seems to be working for now. Either we're just completely down on compression from this thing sitting so long and it just doesn't want to light off, or plugs are bad. I pulled one, it seemed decent, but maybe the rest of them are completely gummed up. We have no idea. We actually don't really know what's wrong with this thing, why it was parked. We think it was parked because of the sensor. It makes sense, it's missing. But it could be other reasons, we have no idea. So I'll have to continue this in a future video. Anyways, if you like this video, please give a thumbs up, share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Until next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with the Classic. I'll see you soon.